Once upon a time, there was a boy named Jack who lived in a big, hot city. Summer was here, and the sun was very bright. Jack wanted to escape the heat. He dreamed of green trees, cool breezes, and quiet places in the countryside. One night, he decided to take a little adventure. He grabbed his map, hopped into his yellow car, and drove away from the noisy city. The stars twinkled above him as he drove. Jack felt happy and free. He loved the quiet roads and the way the trees danced in the wind. As the night went on, Jack sang to himself and imagined the fun he would have in the countryside. But suddenly, something went wrong. The car made a strange noise and stopped moving. "Oh no!" Jack exclaimed, looking at the dashboard. "I'm out of petrol." He scratched his head and looked around. Now I have to walk to find help. He took his map and noticed that he was far away from any town. Jack felt worried, but tried to stay calm. He stepped out of the car and looked down the road. The sun began to rise, painting the sky with beautiful colors. As Jack walked, he listened to the birds singing. He hoped he would find a friendly face soon. Just then, he spotted a girl walking toward him. She had a bunch of wildflowers in her hand and a big smile on her face. Jack felt a spark of hope. "Maybe she can help me," he thought as he waved to her. The girl came closer, and Jack could see she wore a pretty white dress. "Hello," he called out, feeling excited. "I'm lost. Can you help me?" The girl's blue eyes sparkled in the sunlight, but she looked a little scared. I don't know," she said softly, "but you can come with me to my village. Maybe we can help you find petrol." Jack felt relieved. "Thank you. My name is Jack," he said as he followed her down the road. They walked together, and Jack admired the beautiful flowers and tall trees around them. "What's your name?" he asked. "I'm Eliza," she replied, smiling. "We don't get many visitors here." Jack was curious about her village. "Is it far?" he asked. "Not too far," Eliza said. "Just a little way down this road." As they walked, Jack noticed that everything felt different. The air smelled fresh, and the birds sang sweet songs. He felt happy being with Eliza. After a while, they arrived at a village that looked like a scene from a storybook. The houses were small and had thatched roofs. They were painted in bright colors, and animals roamed freely. Jack was amazed. "This place is beautiful," he said. Eliza smiled proudly. "Welcome to Alderton," she said. Jack felt a warm feeling in his heart. Maybe this was the adventure he had been looking for. Eliza led Jack through the village of Alderton. Everywhere he looked, he saw friendly faces and colorful flowers. The people waved and smiled at him as he walked by. "Everyone here is nice," Jack thought. Eliza stopped at a small house with a lovely garden. "This is my home," she said. Jack felt excited to meet her family. They stepped inside, and Jack noticed how clean and cozy it was. There was a fire in the kitchen, and it smelled delicious. "Come in, have a seat," Eliza's father, Mr. Thomas, said with a big smile. Jack sat down at the table, feeling a little shy. Eliza's mother brought him a drink. It was dark brown and looked strange. "What is this?" Jack asked. "That's our special drink. It's made from herbs," Mrs. Thomas said cheerfully. Jack took a sip, and it was strong, but tasty. He smiled and said, "Thank you. It's different but good." As they ate, Jack asked about petrol. "Do you have any cars here?" he wondered. Mr. Thomas chuckled. "We use horses to travel. They are very fast and strong." Jack was surprised. No cars? But why? He thought. Jack enjoyed their company, feeling happy in the warm home. But as the sun began to set, he noticed a hint of sadness in Eliza's eyes. He wanted to know why she looked so sad. But for now, he was just glad to be with new friends in this magical village. After dinner, Eliza and Jack went outside to explore the garden. The flowers were colorful and smelled sweet. "This place is amazing," Jack said, picking a flower to give to Eliza. She blushed and smiled. "Thank you, Jack. We love having visitors like you." As they walked together, they talked about their lives. Eliza shared stories about Alderton, and Jack told her about the busy city. He felt a special connection with her. They laughed and enjoyed each other's company, but Jack noticed that Eliza's smile faded sometimes. "Why do you look sad?" Jack asked gently. Eliza looked down and sighed. "I can't tell you right now. You're just a visitor here," she replied quietly. Jack felt a little worried. He wanted to help her, but didn't know how. "Maybe I can stay longer," he suggested, hoping to cheer her up. Eliza shook her head. "No, you must leave before midnight. It's not safe," she said with a serious look. Jack felt confused. "Why can't I stay?" he asked. Eliza paused, looking into Jack's eyes. "It's dangerous here after dark. Please trust me," she whispered. Jack's heart sank. He didn't want to leave, especially not without knowing what was wrong. But Eliza seemed worried, and he didn't want to scare her more. As the stars twinkled above, Jack promised himself he would find out what was troubling Eliza before he had to go. The sky turned dark as Jack and Eliza walked back to her house. "I don't want to say goodbye," Jack admitted, feeling sad. Eliza looked at him with serious eyes. "You have to go, Jack. It's for your safety," she said firmly. Jack didn't understand. "But I want to help you," he exclaimed. Eliza shook her head again. "You can't help me here. It's too dangerous," she insisted. Jack felt a knot in his stomach. He wanted to stay, but knew Eliza cared about him. At midnight, it was time for Jack to leave. He stood at the door, feeling heavy-hearted. "Will I ever see you again?" he asked, hoping for a hopeful answer. Eliza's face was filled with sadness. "I don't know," she whispered. "You must go now, before it's too late." Jack stepped outside into the dark night. The village was quiet, and he could hear the rustling of leaves. He looked back at Eliza, who stood in the doorway, tears glistening in her eyes. "Goodbye, Eliza. I promise I'll come back," he shouted, but she only nodded, looking worried. As he walked away, Jack felt a strange feeling. He didn't want to leave, but he had to. The moon shone brightly as he walked down the road, his heart aching for Eliza. "I'll find a way to return," he whispered to himself, determined to discover the truth about her and Alderton. After a long walk, Jack finally reached a nearby town. The lights glowed warmly, and he felt relief wash over him. He hurried to a petrol station to fill up his car. The attendant, a middle-aged man, looked at Jack with curiosity. "What brings you here so late?" the man asked. Jack replied, "I just came from a village called Alderton. Have you heard of it?" The man frowned and shook his head. "Alderton? That place isn't there anymore." Jack's heart raced. "What do you mean?" he asked, feeling worried. The man sighed and looked serious. There was a big fire in Alderton a long time ago. Everyone died in that fire. It's been gone for years. Jack couldn't believe it. But I just met Eliza and her family. They were real, he cried. The man looked at him with concern. Listen, kid. There are stories about Alderton. Every 8 years it comes back for just one day. But after that, it disappears again. Jack's mind raced. What do you mean it comes back? He asked. The man leaned closer. On one special day, you can find it again, but you have to leave before morning, or you'll be trapped there forever. Jack felt a chill run down his spine. Eliza said I had to leave before midnight, he gasped. Now it all made sense. I really was in a village from the past, he thought, his heart heavy with the truth. He realized that he had fallen in love with a girl who might never be able to leave her village. Back in the comfort of his yellow car, Jack's mind raced with thoughts of Eliza. He couldn't believe she was from a village lost in time. How could this be happening? He wondered. He thought about the warm smiles, the beautiful flowers, and most importantly, Eliza's kind blue eyes. Jack felt a strong urge to return to Alderton and find her again. I will go back, he promised himself, gripping the steering wheel tightly. He needed to wait until the village reappeared. It was 2 months until the special day. Jack decided to mark it on his calendar, counting down each day until he could see Eliza again. I won't let her down, he vowed. As the days turned into weeks, Jack tried to focus on his life in the city, but he often found himself daydreaming about Alderton. He imagined walking hand in hand with Eliza in the garden, sharing stories and laughter. The thought made him smile, but also made him sad. He didn't want to forget about her. Finally, the special day arrived. Jack woke up early, feeling nervous and excited. He hopped into his car and drove out of the city, his heart racing with hope. Today is the day, he cheered to himself as he followed the road that led back to the countryside. As he drove, Jack remembered the map and the way to the village. He kept his eyes peeled for familiar signs. Hours passed, and just as the sun began to set, he saw a shimmer in the distance. Could it be? He whispered. Jack's heart pounded as he drove faster, eager to reach the village before nightfall. When he arrived at Alderton, he was filled with joy. The village looked just as it had before, with its colorful houses and friendly faces. I made it! He shouted, jumping out of his car. He looked around for Eliza, searching every corner of the village. Jack! A familiar voice called out. He turned to see Eliza running toward him, her long hair flowing behind her like a dark wave. You came back, she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with happiness. Jack felt a rush of joy. I promised I would, he said, holding her hands tightly. Eliza looked relieved, but there was still a hint of worry in her expression. You have to be careful, Jack. You need to leave before morning, she reminded him gently. I will, he replied, his determination shining through. But I don't want to leave you. I want to stay with you forever. As they walked together through the village, Jack felt a sense of peace. They spent the evening talking, laughing, and exploring the beautiful places in Alderton. Eliza shared more about her life and the village, and Jack listened closely, wanting to know everything about her. But as the night deepened, Jack remembered Eliza's warning. I have to find a way to stay, he thought, trying to think of a plan. He turned to Eliza. What if we found a way to escape the danger? We could live together. Eliza shook her head, looking worried. It's not that simple, Jack. You don't understand the risks. I don't care about the risks, Jack said passionately. I love you, Eliza. I'll do whatever it takes to be with you. Eliza's eyes filled with tears. You don't know what you're saying, she cried. But Jack could see that she was touched by his words. Let's figure this out together, Jack urged. We can find a way to break the curse and stay in Alderton forever. They both knew it would not be easy, but they were determined. As dawn approached, Jack made a vow. I won't leave you, Eliza. I'll fight for us. With the sun rising behind them, the village began to fade, but Jack and Eliza stood together, holding hands tightly. They had found each other again, and with love in their hearts, they believed they could overcome any challenge. Together, they would face whatever came next, united by a love that transcended time and reality.